Welcome back to FallingFoxGaming, everybody. I am your host Blaine, and today we're going to be playing some more Starbound Frackin Universe. Now you might be wondering, hey, where did you get those fancy clothes? Last time we left off, you were pretty much naked. What gives? And that's because due to the magic of editing, I'm allowed to go back in time and tell you guys some things from the future. Now the reason why I'm doing it this way is because we are actually playing this as a roleplay, not as a standard Let's Play. What that means is, I am roleplaying as if I don't have a matter manipulator or other supplies that I might normally have if I was playing a standard game. Now the problem with doing videos in this fashion is that the Frackin Universe actually expects me to take advantage of a lot of the basic technologies that are in the game. And based on our roleplay, we don't have access to any of that technology. So I'm coming to you from the future when we have access to all that stuff, and I can show you guys how the Frackin Universe works before we begin our session today. Once I'm done giving a brief overview of the Frackin Universe, we'll hop back in time and continue right where we left off, where we had basically nothing. Now if you already know how the Frackin Universe works, feel free to skip ahead to where you see us with basically nothing on, and we'll continue our journey from where we left off. Okay, so one of the biggest things with the Frackin Universe is that you have to understand that it kind of changes how everything works in the game at a base level. Not just by general use and what's actually in the game, but how it functions with other things. So the main thing you're going to be using throughout your playthroughs is this thing called the personal tricorder. And whenever you use it, it brings up this menu here. This menu kind of allows you to go through all the different functions of the Frackin Universe that are going to apply to you throughout your playthrough. Everything from the text that you have available, like turning into a ball and whatnot, or the dashing and things like that, you can access and look at from here. Same with like what your mech has on it and how much fuel it has and the different ways to upgrade your matter manipulator and everything. So using this menu here, you can actually look at all the basics for your character that you're gonna have to know, because all the planets have special features now. So things like weather effects and just basic radiation and all these other things that can apply to a planet at all times, or as storms or weather changes or different biomes. So all characters have different resistances, and they all have kind of special things based on your race. So you can see right here, I'm a Fenrox, so I have all these different perks. I'm a carnivore, so I have to eat meat. I can't eat fruit and stuff like that. It doesn't help me at all. In fact, it hurts me. I have some basic buffs. They call them perks, but it's basically just different buffs that you have. And you can see here, I'm immune to electrified. And rolling down to environmental things, I do more damage on a savanna planet. And at night, if I'm well fed, I gain some physical resistances and some healing from up above here. And then you also get some bonuses to different weapon types, and you also have some penalties, such as I hate sulfuric, slime, and tar biomes. I actually lose defense when I'm in those biomes. And if I'm using a spear, it actually costs hunger to use them because I deal 25% extra damage, which is pretty cool, because if you run and stab things, I actually deal extra damage. And then of course you have some weaknesses. And each race has these kind of benefits and penalties. And at the same time, another really cool thing about the personal tricorder is that you can actually view the GPS location of your planet and everything along with it. So if we click it here, it will tell us literally everything about the planet and our current location on that planet. I'm just going to kind of scroll down so you guys can kind of see all the different information. You guys can pause it and take a peek at your leisure if you care. And then of course the biggest change probably to the game is the research trees and how things are unlocked from crafting. So by opening up the research tree, you can see it brings you to this menu here where you can select the different research trees, which we'll discuss in a second. But first I want to discuss the different types of research things that you get. First is your basic research. Now this is one of the biggest limiting factors to what you can research. You gain research over time just by being in the game world and not AFK. If you're AFK, this stops going up, but as long as you're out doing anything, even just running around or jumping or fighting, whatever, you begin to gain research. And the longer your play session is, you eventually build up multipliers to where I think the highest I've seen is ×4. It might have even been ×5, but I can't remember off the top of my head now. So as you play through, you build up research, and researching different things costs this research like number right here. But you can also gain things like this here, which is ancient essence, and then of course you have your this is pixels, I think, right? Yeah, pixels, madness, genes, and protheon. So there's a couple other things that they're a little too complicated to explain right now. I'll explain them later on when they become relevant in our playthrough, but right now the big thing is just research. And if you go into any of these trees here, I'm just going to click on engineering because it's one of the more common ones you'll use. You get this big old tree here of all the different things you can unlock from certain workstations. So the basic one you have to unlock to begin with is machining. So this allows you to craft a machining table, the lab directory, basic microscope, which actually helps you kind of inspect certain things. It's kind of hard to explain. It's a feature that we won't use too much in this game, but you can if you're actually, playing a lot. Oh no, I'm sorry. You actually just start off with the basic training, which actually unlocks the inventor's table. I forgot. I unlocked it so early on that I forgot that I actually unlocked it. To unlock the machining, for instance, you actually have to spend 150 of your research, so it'll actually take away 150 of this number up here, and then you have to have in your inventory an iron bar and a copper bar. It does not consume the items. However, I have had it do so. So one thing I will say is that there are some bugs with this research tree where sometimes it will actually take away your resources, even though it's not supposed to. So that is one thing I will just say, be warned about. Now, I'm not going to cover the research tree too much more just because I want to discuss it as we play through rather than just all in one go. But as you can see, the research tree is quite large, and there's other research trees too that maybe aren't as big, but they can be just as complex. You might need some more complicated items to get it. The research trees are a little bit complex, but also straightforward enough that anybody can figure it out with enough playtime. Now, along with the personal tricorder stuff, there are a few things in the game that you need to be aware of. Eating is really, really important because this little meter up here, it ticks down pretty quickly depending on the things that you're doing and your particular race. Now, I'm a Fenrox, and my food meter drops pretty rapidly if I'm anywhere where my character doesn't like, so the different biomes that I don't like, and I can only eat meat technically. Honestly, in certain circumstances, your character might just simply die because you don't have a way to get food. On this particular planet, there are no creatures yet that I've seen that drop meat. Everything I kill drops plant matter. Now, one of the problems that I have with the Frackin Universe, and this is more of a general complaint rather than necessarily something that's actually bad about it, is that you kind of have to use the wiki page pretty much all the time. They don't tell you enough information on screen. You have to kind of figure it out on your own or open up the wiki page to figure out how to fix the issue. In this particular case that I'm talking about, I want to show you this. So in the top left corner, there's a modifier on this planet currently called tropical humidity, resist physical. Now, I honestly have no idea if that means I am resisting it because I have some kind of physical benefit or something, or if I'm weak to it or what, or if it's just giving me a tip of how to deal with it. The game doesn't actually tell you that anywhere as far as I can tell. Maybe in one of like the help menus, but I honestly couldn't find it just doing a general search, which is kind of part of my problem with this. So one thing I can do is if I look at my personal tricorder and pop it open, I can see that at the bottom down here under my weaknesses, I do have physical resist as a weakness. So presumably that's why I'm actually taking damage, but I honestly don't know. The easiest way for me to figure it out was to simply open up the wiki and learn from that. And you have to do that with a lot of the things in the Frackin Universe, and that's unfortunately just the nature of playing a big mod like this, is you need to become friends with the wiki. So with the fact that I need to use the research tree to kind of unlock anything to build, I need you guys to understand that during this roleplay, I have things unlocked that you wouldn't generally have unlocked kind of as early as we are in our roleplay. I have played a good chunk of time actually playing the game as, normal with, upgrading my matter manipulator and everything off screen to kind of offset some of the issues that we're going to run into, because I kind of know how the Frackin Universe works and I know the needs and stuff that we actually are going to run into, and I want the game to be a little bit more about the roleplay and less about the, trying to deal with the Frackin Universe, survival aspect of it. So if you guys are watching this wanting a pure Frackin Universe playthrough, that's not quite what this is. I could switch to that if that's what you guys would prefer, but right now I'm going to run it as the roleplay and stick with my general, we'll say, handicaps that I've given myself. And I think that's probably about it for the Frackin Universe information for now. If you guys have more questions, either ask me down in the comments, or again, the wiki page will probably tell you whatever you need to know. But let's jump back to our regular game, back to where we left off, where we had basically nothing. Falion's first couple days on this planet were quite rough. The local creatures were very dangerous, and his venturing had to be quite limited because his base had nothing to return to. If he was caught off guard, he would have nowhere to run to safety. After a couple days, however, he decided to build a bed with the nearby resources that this planet provided. It would at least give him somewhere to rest if he was injured or just otherwise exhausted. In his daily outings, he came across an abandoned mineshaft. Presumably the same people that built his little structure had worked there once before. Before exploring the mineshaft, Falion decided to rest for a couple of days, just in case there was something dangerous within the caverns. The journey to the mineshaft wasn't too far. Just a couple of miles, according to the map here. But the last time he had seen it, it was in the dark, and so he didn't know the way exactly. So he set out to find it once again, hoping he would find it before nightfall. After a short trek, Falion managed to find the mine shaft. The local landmarks were quite easy to identify in the daylight, and the mine itself was actually one of the largest natural structures in the area. It even stood out above the canopy, making it easy to find, even from far away. Taking a moment to listen, Falion heard nothing within the caverns. As he slowly made his way up to the first rest area, he had noticed that the mine shaft seemed to be in really good condition. In fact, everything here seemed to be in good condition. He couldn't figure out why they would have left all these tools when they could have taken them with them. The only thing he could think of is they must have been in a hurry. And if that's the case, he should be extra careful. Another point of interest is the collapsed wall in the midsection of the mines. It looked as though it had been done on purpose. Perhaps maybe while they were retreating, they collapsed the tunnels behind them. That's about the best explanation Fang could come up with. As he reached the lowest level of the mine shaft, he got a few more answers, or perhaps he found some more questions to ask. Along with a bunch more tools, there was an unmarked grave, and a set of stairs that led into an empty chamber. Having found no answers to why they abandoned the place, Falion decided it was time just to collect as much equipment as he could and return home. Alright, so while Falion sleeps, let's take a look at the gear that we just got. Now, we found ourselves some tier 2 bandit armor, which is not incredibly great for us, but it's much better than the nothing that we had on prior to that. Now, I'm not going to go over any of the stats and stuff. You guys can look and see what that stuff is. It's pretty self-explanatory. The big thing that we're looking for here is now increases our damage output, gives us some bonus energy and some bonus health. Not a whole lot, but as I said before, we didn't have anything before, so we're going to go ahead and be happy with what we found. We also look pretty dang rad. Okay, so now is the time that we're going to step back from the roleplay a little bit and discuss our actual game. So we have now officially collected the first thing that is going to allow us to mine in our roleplay. We've collected a whole bunch of copper, silver, and iron pickaxes, along with a couple drills and a few other things similar to that. I'm not going to go over everything exactly, but you guys get the gist. I'm going to be using actual pickaxes to do our mining, because in a roleplay, we do not have the manipulator yet. We will eventually get it, but because I've done a whole bunch of off-screen progression, I have it mostly maxed out, and I feel like it just doesn't fit our current setting for the roleplay. So that's why you're not going to see me using that in this playthrough, for a while anyways. And now it's time for me to explain to you guys what the issue is with the planet that we're currently on. So I actually have a weakness to this heat thing that's going on this planet, and I lose health pretty much continuously unless I find water to cool myself off in. So pretty much anytime I am actually wandering around, I need to make sure I have a water source nearby, because if I don't cool myself off, I lose health automatically. That's why I had to go back home and rest in the bed to show you guys my gear. I was actually pretty close to death when I was trying to record that section. But thankfully, that's just about the only dangerous thing on this planet aside from the local wildlife, which I've been able to handle so far okay. I just gotta keep my distance from them. And now that we have a way to mine, the first thing I want to do is clear a path through this little mountainside here, because it's my only real way around. I could use ropes and try and jump around the top, but that's pretty much guaranteed death if I fail, so I don't want to do that. And while this may seem like a minor accomplishment, it's actually pretty important because we haven't explored anywhere to the west from here. There's a lot of hostile things on this planet to us. The other thing is we're traveling at nighttime primarily because if we travel during the day, we get overheated and start taking damage immediately. Now this tree is interesting. It looks like it has fruit on it. If we harvest that, do we actually get fruit? I'm gonna try and see if I can harvest the tree and see if we get fruit from it, because we actually need food. Oh wait, I'm a carnivore, so fruit won't help me. Oranges, that's not helpful at all actually. Dang it. Being a Fenorox actually has made things a little bit difficult. Okay, so having explored probably about as far as I really want to, I could go down there, but then I end up on this big cliff that I gotta climb back up, and I really don't want to do that. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna start harvesting trees, because we're gonna need wood to start crafting things. Now, our primary goal today is to get ourselves some basic crafting stations. Now, we do have the workbench that we get to start off with in our little hut thing that we found, but aside from that, we don't have anything else on this planet. And in order to get back up to our ship, we're gonna have to find a decent amount of equipment to try and break back into the town that doesn't want us there, or the one where we were supposed to be held prisoner. What is this guy? Can't capture him. Oh no, I made him really angry. I was just joking. Okay, so now we've got enough timber and wooden logs. Let's go ahead and craft ourselves an inventor stable, and then we'll go ahead and place that down somewhere inside here. Right here for now. We can rearrange this as we need to. But what do we got? So we could do a foraging table for hunting, mining, and farming. I don't think that'll be too helpful for us right now because we can hunt with our current bow. The next thing we should probably work on getting would be a furnace. All right, so that's kind of going to be our long-term goal for a little while now is cobblestone and mud. I haven't seen either of those two things here, so that could be a problem. So I think we're going to head down into the mine shaft that has already been started for us. And I think this is going to be kind of how we're going to find mud and cobblestone. I don't think we'll find it up on the surface, so I think we're going to have to dig down to find it. Okay, we got ourselves some mud down here. So that's a really good start. That's one of the things that we need. We also will need iron, which I think is right here. Yeah, we'll need that for our, what is it, anvil, I think it is, after the forge. And so we're kind of thinking proactive here. So we have to get ourselves some basic equipment. Ah, I don't know what just happened. Something shot me. What is that? What is that? Do not like that. I got hit with a web. Oh, that is a big old spider. Okay, we killed. What did it just drop something? What? Gross. What is that? Is it gonna hurt me if I go in it? Ow! Yeah, I should have known. Ow! 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 I'm standing in it. Ow! Okay. Can I harvest the webs? Oh no! 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 That's toxic stuff. Oh, man. Okay, so on the bright side, I can like collect the silk. I'm gonna do that. Okay, while this toxic stuff does seem to suck, it's not as bad as I thought it was. It doesn't like kill me or anything. It just seems to make me weak to stuff. All right, so we still need cobblestone. Oh my goodness, that was a fall. So I am finding places with a bunch of like silver and stuff. So I'm gonna collect some of it just because I feel like I'm gonna need it at some point. All right, well, we found ourselves some more mining stuff and a really scary looking biome down there. Well, not gonna lie. A little bit underwhelming, but I guess it's kind of cool. Now, more importantly, what is over here? You know what? I didn't think that through at all. Baby larva? Oh, I'm collecting baby larva. What is baby larva? An alien baby larva. It's small, squishy, and defenseless. And apparently, it's a crafting material. Not exactly in the direction of things that I want to be going. Ah, what is that? Oh my goodness. Ooh. Alright, so that thing was nuts, whatever the frick that thing was. Man, I was not expecting whatever that was. Ooh, a chest with baby larva in it. Okay, that's not helpful. Go ahead and just climb ourselves down here. Yeah, we're at like the planet core basically already. And there's some books and stuff. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of mining around. It does look like there's some valuable stuff here, and not gonna lie, based on what I've seen, I don't think there's any hostile things in the area. So I'm just gonna go ahead and poke around, and if I see anything interesting, I'll hop back and show you guys. Alright, so we're coming back here as I have discovered ourselves a little, what looks to be like an apex laboratory here. I've managed to get through most of this place without using my pickaxe. Most of the walkways are wide enough for me to get through, or at least find a way around without wasting our pickaxe at all. But in this case, I am not able to do that. I gotta actually waste our pickaxe. Now, I'm really curious as what we can find in these crates. This playthrough, what I'm going to be doing now is that we are finding stuff out here in the wild. This is the equipment and stuff that I'm going to be using. I want to try and get through and explore as many places as possible to get gear and equipment, because I don't have much of anything. You guys saw everything that I'm starting off with, which is not very much. Ooh, this is pretty sketchy. Ha! So let's see what we find in this place. I do like turning these things on. Come on, turn on. Basic stuff. Ooh, what do we get? A Rotic, Fizz Stabber. This swift melee weapon will make them bleed. Alright. I don't know what that is, but we can definitely give it a shot. So this is actually our first melee weapon, and it is a one-handed, which means we can have it with our rope out. So, what is this? Oh, I do like that. That's pretty cool. So that's our melee weapon. Alright, so the whole reason why I came down here is I was looking for cobblestone. There's pretty much no cobblestone anywhere to be found, at least not that I've seen yet. We did get iron, which is really helpful, but in all honesty, it's only a little bit helpful because we need the cobblestone before the iron's at all helpful. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to head back up to the surface. I know the route is kind of way roundabout, so I'm not going to do the whole path with you guys watching just because it'll take quite a while. Alright, I think we're just about back up to the surface here. This kind of looks like where we entered. Yeah, this is like the little pathway that we made with the little creatures that gave us the carapace or whatever it was. Now, the reason I want to head back is kind of run into a problem. It took me a little longer than I thought it would to get back, so I'm kind of almost out of food. So we're going to go ahead and make a little bit of food here, cook some stuff up. We have 1 steak to cook, and that's pretty much it. So, not a whole lot, not a big score in terms of our food, but that's better than nothing. Yeah, so we found ourselves a ton of mud. We have a campfire right outside that we can use for this, or we can just make a campfire. But we still need 20 cobblestone. Now, that's going to be a problem. I haven't seen any cobblestone yet, so we're going to have to actually search, and I think I might have to search along the planet's surface, which could be a problem. So I think that's actually a pretty good point to stop at. We are at kind of a crossroads of what we're going to do, so we'll have to have a think about how we want to progress from here, and then continue on next time. Now, I apologize for the long-winded explanation about some of the Frackin Universe stuff at the beginning of the video. Hopefully we'll be able to avoid that going forward, so the rest of the videos coming out will be just of us playing. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed this so far. I have. It's been a great time, honestly, and I hope you guys will join me for future episodes. If you like this episode, please do not forget to leave a like and subscribe if you have not, and I'll see you in the next one.